Very impressive, Mr. Wright, I have to say. I expected nothing less. We've only just begun. I was hoping you could tell me a bit more about what happened, actually. I didn't think you'd believe me if I told you. But you'll discover the truth for yourself. I was thinking of you, you know. I've been doing less thinking and more talking. That night in the hospital, what really happened? Oh, the way your eyes gleam, Mr. Wright. You'll scare Trucy. Speaking of which, where is she? You've seen the problem for yourself, the letter. The one shot in the forehead one, right? Yes, and the reason he speaks of. I could not deny my mentor's wishes even if it meant my own death. Why not? This is something I will not say, for now at least. What's this for now business? I've done many things in my life, some well, some poorly. But this is a cross we must bear alone to our graves. We? You wanted to know about the night of the incident? Finally, the guy sure likes to take his time into the important stuff. Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I snuck into his room that night at the appointed time. I found there upon his bedside table 2 pistols. 2? Yes. One I used on stage, and one that had been used by my partner Valent. Oh, for the Zack and Valent quick draw thing. My mentor had the look of one sleeping. I stood by his bedside, hearing only the light sound of his breathing. Then I took the pistol into my hand. I cannot deny my resolve faltered then for a moment. He faltered? You mean you thought about shooting him? Recall there was a reason I could not refuse his request. His last such request, though not his first. So there were other requests you couldn't refuse before. To be honest, I've not always been steadfast, and I fear I've brought pain upon Trucy. Wasn't it if he can coercing his disciples somehow? Just what was going on in Troop Gramarye? Yet in the end, I did not shoot him. Instead, I turned and shot the clown. I took the pistol I fired and placed it in my pocket. In your pocket? I believe if you examine the bullets in the clown's head, you'll find it to be different than the one in my mentor. What were those called? Rifling marks. Yes, well, that's all I have to tell you concerning the case. Concerning the case? You mean there's something else you can tell me? You're a fascinating man, Mr. Wright. Thanks. Yes, there is something. My mentor, his eyes opened. What? Magnifique Gramarye? The old devil was not asleep, you see. Of course, the gunshot would have woken him anyway. And then we had our last discussion as mentor and pupil. It was not a long discussion, maybe 5-10 minutes or so. What did you talk about? Mr. Wright, did I not just tell you? It does not concern the case. Zack Gramarye, he seems pretty steadfast to me. Or just stubborn. Mr. Wright, your presence is requested in the courtroom. Once again, I'm in your hands. Right, let's get back in there. Court is now back in session. During a recess, a bullet was found and dug out from the clown's head. Well, this is news. And the rifling marks? There wasn't time to do a detailed analysis, but I did find the weapon type matches the murder weapon. Well, that's not very conclusive, is it? That's right, I'm about to call my very decisive witness. Excuse me. Oh. Your decisive witness? How many times have I heard those words? Though they often turn out to be far less decisive than you think. Oh, don't worry on my account. I'm quite confident this witness will do the job. After all, he is intimately acquainted with the players in our little production. It's going to be Valent, isn't it? He's the other half of the true Gamore's famous duo, Zack and Valent. Valent Gamore. So we get to meet the great Rafiki's other disciple. Perhaps I'll start by asking your name and occupation. Valent Gamore, magician. And you're the decisive witness, are you? You can prove your fellow student your partner's guilt? Fate, the grand illusion, filled with traps and tricks. Wait, the shooting took place in a hospital after 11 o'clock at night. If you're a witness, does that mean you were there that late? If one were to deduce this logically, the conclusion is yes. Okay. I always get the characters, don't I? I have an interesting fact for you. You'll see 7 days before the crime, my witness received this. That looks very familiar. Wait. That's the same letter Zack Gamry received. Yes, or perhaps I should say, ta-da! Order! Order! And what does it say? Surely not the same thing! How did you see for yourself? Why, it's practically the same! Yes, but 15 minutes later. The court accepts this info into evidence. This is most unusual. Exactly what was going on with you folks? What exactly is your troop Gamry up to? By which you mean? I'm just having trouble envisioning a man who would ask his students to kill him. Both of them, no less. It's just my opinion, Herr Judge, but from the letters, I say he was coercing them or not asking them. We shared the magician's path together, and in doing so, shared most of our lives. When people are so close, there's a strain, a warping of relations, you might say. Yet this has nothing to do with the case at hand. By which you mean you're not going to tell us. Which makes me wonder even more about this reason they couldn't refuse. Let's get on with the testimony for starters. The defendant Zack Gamry stands accused. Tell us why. Oh, I'll do more than that. For where he walks, the red rose rise, singing hymns to the miracle that is magic. Fascinating. Though I hardly need to remind you that the evidence could just as clearly point to you as the suspect. The letter, the murder weapon, and now 2 bullets found at the scene. In fact, the only difference seems to be the designated time. As every magician knows, timing is everything. Yeah, and now let's get the party fired up. That night I visited the hospital room at the time Enderby requested. The smell of gunpowder hung in the room, and my mentor had taken his final bow. I did not imagine my fellow student might have received the same instructions. Yet a deal with the dead is still a deal. Death's sweet kiss I gave to the clown. Then I informed the doctor and the police. So you're the one who reported the crime? Indeed, I would think. This fact alone would clear my name of suspicion. Let's not jump to any conclusions. Yes, the cross-examination generally comes before conclusions in this court. But if your testimony proves to be true, I guess the defendant Zack Gamry's guilty. And if it wasn't Zach Gamry, then the killer is you, Valent. And no disappearing act will get you out of that. Which, according to the letter, was 11:20? Indeed. In magic, timing is everything. Right. Consider the illusion of teleportation. If I were to appear on stage before my stunt double has left, how would that look? It would reveal the very secrets of my magic. Now that you've revealed the very secrets of your magic for all of us, let's move on. You went to the designated time, and what did you see? So you weren't worried for your own safety at all? I mean, you smelled gunpowder, yes? What if the shooter was still nearby? I did not consider this. The fuck? I did not consider this, to be honest. It is forbidden for a magician to have a good imagination. Really? Is magic all about illusions and imagination? How about this? You were the shooter, which is why you weren't afraid. Now you're the one imagining. It's forbidden for a lawyer to have a good imagination. The witness will refrain from pausing so suspiciously before responding. My forbidden imagination is starting to imagine things. Which brings us back to this reason neither of you could refuse. So it does, and my partner, he did not refuse. Magnanimity wrote the same thing to you. Why could you refuse if Zach couldn't? Because I have a will of steel, of course. I also do this trick where I bend steel bars, so perhaps steel isn't all that strong. So which is it? Mind if I continue? There were 2 bullet holes at the scene, one in the victim and one in the clown. You're saying the one who shot the clown was you? No doubt my partner Zach has said much the same thing. Yeah, because whoever didn't shoot the clown committed the murder. I better dig around here a bit more and see what I can turn up. Mr. Van, let me ask you something else concerning the crime scene. Namely... in order to shoot a pistol, you need a bullet. Where was the bullet? I entered the room and took the pistol in my hand. The bullet was already loaded, ready to fire at any time. A magician's always prepared, you see. Prepared for... one never knows when a miracle might be called for. A magician always has 7 doves in his pocket and a white rabbit up his sleeve. Clearly we're dealing with professionals here. Is this bullet that was loaded into the pistol really so important? Without a loaded bullet, we wouldn't have a murder. It's very important, Your Honour. Very well. Please add this detail to your testimony. What can I do but obey? If the pistol was already loaded, something doesn't make sense. Why weren't the victim's fingerprints on it? You should know we're the true Gamma are capable of many things. One of these being the levitation of iron balls without touching them. There's no magic involved here. The shooter was just methodical is all. He simply wiped everything of fingerprints. Can't really do much with fingerprints that weren't there. Maybe I should ask about something else. Where exactly was this pistol when you entered the room? Atop a small bedside table it was, as if to say, here I am, take me onto your hand, pull my trigger and shoot him. The victim clearly wanted to be shot.
But why?
Perhaps he wanted to go out with a bang. Yet you'll never hear the truth from his lips, so all you can do is guess.
Is location of pistol that important?
Without a murder weapon, there'd be no murder. It's very important, Your Honour.
Very well.
Why did you do that? I think calling the police would have come first. And you know nothing of the relationship between a master and his disciple. If your master says die, you die. Do you understand? So you're going to die? Certainly not. It's but an example. In any case, I'm going to fulfill my obligation. A final courtesy. To a great mentor, perhaps. Or perhaps not. Perhaps I'm totally confused. Maybe I should ask about something else. How many pistols were there when you entered the room? By which you mean what precisely? 2 pistols were used in the second van and quick draw shooting, correct? 1 for each of you. You are well informed, yet only one of my old friends was in the hospital room that night. Where's that? Tell me back in the lobby.
I see a problem with that statement. Only 1 pistol's visible in the photograph of the crime scene, after all.
So you picked up that pistol and fired it? Indeed I did. Alakazam, alakazing, alakaboom.
Is that number of pistols really so important?
So you informed the police. What did you do then? What do you suppose I did? You thought I managed to never take my mentor's corpse, perhaps? I don't know, that's why I'm asking. Now please answer the question and skip the sarcasm. After I made my report, I called the doctor and returned to the room. While I waited for the police to arrive, we discussed stomach medicine. We conferred with the doctor, it all checks out. He praised Mr. Vance knowledge of stomach medicine, in fact. It's an honour I do not deserve, but I accept. Both McAfee students received the same letter. Both admit to having gone to the hospital that night. 2 bullets were fired, one of them killed McAfee. Time to find the cracks in his testimony. If you look closely, you can see how the pistol's made to bend here. It's a one-shot only model, and I guess the bend is where you load it. So, this is the famous Gamri Golden Gun. They say kids used to love pretending they had one of these. I wonder if they're pretending to miss their targets too. Oh, I don't fucking know. She took the only pistol there and fired it? That's correct. And the pistol was this one, which was left at the crime scene? Good show. I see you do are a magician of sorts. And you're an idiot of sorts. You have any idea what you just said? I see the fire in your eyes if there's a witness. How about heating up this tile a bit? These slob ballads bore me. I've got a hunch, but maybe that's all it is. Oh, I don't fucking know, man. I hate these multiple choice ones.
Objection! Objection! Objection!
I think I'm going to need to look this one up, I'm afraid. I really don't know where any of this is going, what it's trying to say.
Hold it!
Okay.
Objection!
According to defendant Zach Gamry, when he entered the room, there were 2 pistols on the table. 2? One of those pistols he used to shoot the clown in the forehead, then left it in his pocket. Of course this is what he would say. Unlike the hapless clown, we must assume our defendant has some brains in his head. But what about what Mr. Valent has told us? You see, there's something about his testimony that doesn't make sense. What might that be? I told you I took the pistol that was there and shot the clown. That's your story, at least. But the rifling marks tell a very different story, Mr. Valent. Recall what Prosecutor Gavin told us. Mr. Valent, if you fired this pistol, then you shot the victim in the forehead.
Order! Order! Well, this is all rather sudden.
Ha 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 ha. What have I done?
Prosecutor Gavin?
I also caught an apology. Sorry. Sorry for what? You see, I was unaware two of these unique pistols are crafted. The analysis of the rifling marks only proved the type of guns that fired them.
But that's not what you told us before. You said you verified the murder weapon.
Which is why I'm apologising to you now. Quite sincerely, I might add. Would you hold me accountable for a mistake made in my youth?
That was just this morning.
I'm still young. And I might add, it wasn't really my fault. If the defendant had only admitted he took Van Pistol from the scene of the crime, we'd not be having this pleasant conversation now.
Valent Gamery.
Yes, Your Honour.
If we presented to this court, you were presented to this court as a decisive witness, but you've proven to be more divisive than decisive.
Objection!
You'll see in time. The testimony so far has been merely a review of the facts. The proof comes next.
Care to elaborate, Prosecutor Gavin?
When Mr. Valent enters the hospital room, the victim had already been shot. As his next testimony will prove, alright, the real fight is about to begin. Bring it.
Very well. The witness will now testify to the court. Help us determine who shot what.
I arrived in the hospital room at the appointed time, which was to say 11:20. After discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligation and called the doctor. The doctor examined the body before the police arrived. He was quite clear about the time of death, 11:10 p.m. And the one in the room at my time was my partner, not me.
Those times are rather close, you have to admit. You're talking about an alibi established over a matter of minutes. To use a 10-minute discrepancy as the basis of your alibi.
It's easy to explain the situation, Herr Judge. For example, take our debut hit single 13 Years Hard Time for Love. Cue to the song, press the play button, and it'll play for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Do it 100 times, the result's the same. The debut single's only 2 minutes and 15 seconds long. What a rip-off. The magic is a word of utmost Magic is a word of utmost precision. Hocus pocus. Requires admirable focus. And in the time of death determined by the doctor, that is an incontrovertible truth.
Very well. The prosecution warns us we're dealing with rather precise times, and we can expect the cross-examination to require the same level of precision.
I'd hope the defence refrains from its customarily broad sweeping accusations. Lest we blur the focus in the case so clearly demands.
Point taken. Baseless remarks will result in a penalty. Carry on, Mr. Wright.
Carry on, Wright.
11:20. Can you prove it's when you arrived? Alas, such a feat may even be beyond the great Valiant. For there was no one in the room but Magnifi, and he was departed after a fashion. I have here to defend Zack Gammady's sworn disposition. I snuck into his rooms at night at the appointed time. It was 10 minutes before I left the room, and the victim was still alive. The time indicated by this letter to Zack was 11:05. Exactly, which means the witness could not have entered the room before 11:15, because his partner was still in the middle of the crime. I see someone did their arithmetic homework. You'll see, the defendant himself has corroborated the witness's testimony. Does that make sense? I don't see any problem with that testimony. If you say so, let's continue, shall we? Sometimes the most magical thing at all is the truth. You walk in on a murder and the first thing you do is shoot the clown? The disciple does what the disciple must. My mentor's request about reason has caused me to chaffer of sorrow. For what would I, Valiant, be now without him? May the soul of Magnifi the Great find greater peace above. This I muttered to myself as I pulled that lonely trigger. In any case, I believe this is nothing more than what we have already learned. I'm still waiting for those right moments, Herr Attorney. I remind you, Pace's remarks will earn penalties. Proceed with that in mind. Yes, Your Honour. What a pain it is turning out to be. Did the doctor say anything concerning the cause of death? Ah, yes, I believe he screamed, "My God, he's been shot in the head!" It doesn't take a doctor to notice that. I probably would have screamed the same thing. I'd either append the requiem at a rose, and my soul, it's a horrid sight. Whatever happened to a good old-fashioned investigation? In any case, I believe this is nothing more than what we already learned. I'm still waiting for those right moments, Herr Attorney. I don't think I'm stepping out on a limb to say I have some doubts about this. How could the doctor be so precise with the time? We do usually get an estimated time of death, true. I'm not sure I've heard of a verified time of death. Magic revels in the making of complex appear simple, but the reality is opposite. What appears complex in this case is a simple matter of subtraction. I see no person's done their arithmetic homework. The point here is the IV the victim was taking. It's quite visible in the photograph of the scene. Recall what we heard earlier about the victim's schedule. Every night at 11, Magnifi took an IV dip for 30 minutes. I can see the IV bag right there, yes. Now look a little closer. Follow the tool down to the bag from the end. Oh, the needle's been removed. Doubtlessly it fell out when he was shot. That would seem to be the case. When the needle comes out, the IV no longer drips. Ah, you could just measure the remaining IV liquid. Precisely. The IV liquid functions for our purposes as an hourglass of sorts. This is how the doctor determines the time of death. From the amount remaining in the bag, it was determined the IV had stopped 10 minutes after administration began. And so it was when I, Valiant, entered the room. 10 minutes had passed since the horrible crime was committed. And that is proof. Well, Mr. Wright,
Did that seem important? I don't see any problem with that testimony.
if you say so. Let's continue, shall we?
Sometimes the most magical thing of all is the truth. You went to that hospital room at 11:20 p.m. The time given by the defendant, Zach Gamery, was 11:05. You didn't run into him into the hospital that night. This is why I never perform with amateurs, you see. Huh? Picture, if you will, the nighttime hospital. Outside, only the pale light of the moon. If two dressed as we were met in such circumstances, I dare say it would ruin the mood completely. The mood isn't in question here. I believe the witnesses say they didn't meet, yeah? For what is magic if not the study of beauty? Us meeting is not only out of the question, it was an impossibility. For what is magic if not the study of how to make absolutely no sense at all? That said, was there a contradiction in there? The only problem I see here is a glaring contradiction in that testimony.
Was that a question?
I guess it was. You've been warned, Hervite. Baseless remarks will be penalised.
Well put, Prosecutor Gavin. Oh, and Mr. Wright, here's the answer to your question.
None by over a matter of minutes. Precise is right. And present with impunity can earn me a nice penalty too. Better focus on one thing this time of death. How did the doctor be so precise with the time? Okay, we've heard this already. Let's not let me fast forward. Well, seeing as how it's the biggest clue we have to the time of death, I'd say it's very important.
Agreed. It would be hard to imagine a more precise way to determine the time. Behold the power of arithmetic. Very well. The witness will have the details of his testimony.
The water of life spring is not eternal, the remaining IV liquid proves my innocence. Do you notice the IV yourself by any chance? When I first entered the room, a stench of gunpowder assailed me. Next, the mark of death upon my mentor's forehead, and then his left arm, I did spy, a rose drooping and wilted, its thorn and discarded IV needle. Not from surveying by the force of the shot, lucky for you. It's the IV. Excuse me. If the IV had not been there, why you might be a suspect. Indubitably so. Might I say it's thanks to my lucky colour. Your lucky colour? Indeed, even today I wear proudly upon my suspect self. For it always without fail brings me luck. Why, when Zack and Valiant first won the Magician's Grand Prix, yes, the very one held by the Association of International Magicians, I was adorning this attire then too. And our trophy, a bust. Ah, what a day that was. This is one trip down memory lane nobody needs. A lucky colour, yes indeed, and that's IV too, I say, I think to assume especially for me, Valiant.
That does seem to be the case indeed. Well, Mr. Wright, any thoughts on this testimony? That sure looks happy with himself. How about this lucky colour testimony? It certainly sounds like your lucky colour's brought you plenty of luck, but not this time. Mr. Valent, your lucky colour betrays you. I'm afraid you've lost me. Your Honour, the witness testimony just now clearly contradicts the evidence. What? Please recall my warning at the beginning of the cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Baseless accusations will be duly penalised. I do hope this latest accusation is well based. Oh, don't worry, I've got all your bases right here. Very well, let's hear the defence's claim. Where's your evidence that contradicts Mr. Valent has told us? Yellow fluid, huh? I don't think so. The crime scene tells all, Your Honour. The photo of the crime scene?
Ozatog Colour has been yearning for black and white clear-cut simplicity. Tell us, Herr White, what is the contradiction in the photo?
My pleasure, and I assure you it's quite simple. But I can't promise anything in black and white. Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. Why the photo contradicts the witness testimony? Valent Gamery, let's get one thing straight about your lucky colour. It's yellow, yes? Kind of takes the mystery out of it, but yes. Something wrong with yellow, Mr. Wright? Yes, there is. Decisively wrong, in fact. Take another look at the photo of the crime scene. What's this? Confusion, doubt, tells what your ugly eyes spy. Even my ugly eyes can see a problem here, Mr. Valent. Look at the IV bag. What is this? What foul magic? It would be hard to call the IV liquid yellow, and I'm afraid no magic was involved in the taking of this photograph. No! Order! Order! What does this mean?
This is some kind of mistake.
Yes, Prosecutor Gavin, your witness's mistake. The greener they are, the harder they fall. I suppose there's no substitute for experience. Valent Gamery, as you reminded us several times, your lucky colour's yellow, but the IV is clearly not. Well, this contradiction can only mean one thing.
And to think you almost had me. I see your two colours now, Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright.
Something you'd like to tell us, Prosecutor Gavin? As far as the court can tell, the witness testimony does contradict the evidence.
Ha ha ha. Yeah, a contradiction. One I shall be pleased to hand right back to Mr. White.
How do you mean?
How? Because the witness has made no mistakes. I agree at a glance the IV liquid does appear to be a greenish yellow, but I assure you the liquid itself is quite yellow.
How can you say that? As I can tell from this photo, it's green.
Yeah, but what colour is the IV bag itself?
The bag, the plastic bag on the hook. It looks like I want... Oh, fuck off. That is not how that works.
Precisely. Figured it out yet? Put your liquid in a blue bag and
You get green.
this, incidentally, is the liquid's true colour.
I see. The explanation does have the ring of truth to it.
Objection!
As I thought.
There's no substitute for experience, Prosecutor Gavin. But you may tell a good tale, but you've just proven something rather grave, for you that is. Grave? The liquid in the IV is yellow, yes. But how'd this witness know that? It's quite unnatural when you think about it. You did think about it, didn't you? Your Honour, the defence requests an explanation from the witness. At the scene of the crime, the IV liquid appears to be green. So let me ask, how did the witness know the IV liquid was actually yellow?
Order! Order! Mr. Wright, you will explain this at once. The witness clearly knew the colour of the IV liquid, so I'm sure it means something, but what?
I can think of only one possibility, Your Honour. The witness, Valent Gamma Ray, had testified the IV liquid was yellow because... From the facts before us, the answer is clear. The witness knew the IV liquid was yellow. Why? He'd seen it before, but not inside the blue bag we see in the photo. He saw the liquid by itself in a clear, colourless bag.
I suppose you would have to, but I'm still not clear what it all means.
Ask yourself, why would he know if he didn't work at the hospital? That's where you'll find your meaning, Your Honour. I'm afraid I find nothing. So what if he knew the IV liquid's colour? Either getting excited of absolutely nothing to our teeny bopper fans, yeah? The IV liquid's the only evidence proving the time of death. A 30-minute hourglass with 20 minutes worth of sand remaining. Your claim, Prosecutor Gavin.
I remember it well.
However, there's a critical difference between an hourglass and an IV bag.
Wait, I know. An hourglass uses sand, but an IV uses liquid. Am I right?
As much as it pains me to say this, Your Honour, no. Unlike the sensor in hourglass, IV liquid enters the patient's body, at which point, like magic, it disappears. However, what if the amount of IV liquid had increased? You couldn't tell, could you? After all, there's no way of knowing how much went in. Let me get this straight, alright? You're saying the witness watered down the victim's IV bag? Not with water, but with IV liquid. That's how you knew the IV liquid was yellow. Wait, I said wait! You might be an amateur, so how might an amateur such as myself escape to perform such a task? I'm an amateur too, but I can pour water into a cup. I'm afraid there's quite a big difference in a cup and an IV bag, quite. Can you prove our witness is capable of such a feat?
He has a point, amateurs. I at least would have some difficulty pouring IV liquid into that bag.
You don't need to be an expert to see the look on the witness's face. He added liquid to that IV to throw me off the time of death. Our ties are fairy tales lacking evidence.
Well, Mr. Wright, any solid evidence to bring us back down to earth?
Valent Gamma Ray, I'm afraid your magic won't serve you well in the life of crime. Might I ask what you're strongly suggesting?
Magic relies on props, and
props become evidence. Our witness was certainly able to increase the amount of IV liquid in the bag. All he had to do was work a little magic, and the prop was...
the victim's syringe.
It's the perfect prop for the magically increasing IV bag trick. It's easy enough for an amateur to use. What kind of evidence is that? The syringe was clean, not a trace of liquid in it. And you don't find that odd, Prosecutor Gavin? What? The victim had the syringe to administer his insulin shots. There should have been traces of insulin left inside. Well, Violent Gamma-ray, as you pointed out yourself, the IV liquid makes the perfect clock. One you could manipulate at will. Alakazam!